If I had to rebuild my health from zero, here's exactly how I'd start. Let's say I'm exhausted, inflamed, gaining weight. These are the things that I would do. So first of all, I would say most people try to fix symptoms, and I would focus on systems. So there's really 5 areas that I would work on. The first one would be resetting my circadian rhythm and sleep. So sleep is where people think it's just a passive, practice that you do every day, but it's actually a very active phase of your life, and this is where healing happens. So if you're not sleeping well, you can't get better. So that's the first foundational factor, and I would start by making sure I'm getting outside early in the morning, getting exposure to natural light, because that really sets the stage for that circadian rhythm. And then I'd also really limit blue light exposure at night and even throughout the day, because that's going to inhibit your melatonin production in the evening. So those are 2 big areas to start to reset your sleep. And then if you're purposely just maybe unintentionally not sleeping enough, you're staying up too late, you really need to focus on making sure you're getting more time where you're sleeping. Now, the second thing I would do is rebuild my digestion. So people say you are what you eat. I would say you're what you digest and absorb. So if you're eating, a pretty healthy diet, but you're not digesting and breaking down those foods properly, that stuff's not getting into your system. So when we get into a state where, we're having these vague symptoms and, all your labs are normal, that tells us that there's probably something off with digestion, honestly, because we really understand that a lot of these chronic symptoms start in the gut. So I would start thinking about, do I need digestive enzymes? Do I need to support hydrochloric acid? How good is my motility? Bile flow even. These are areas that I would really focus on. The third thing that I would do is really address the dietary signals that are coming in, and especially when it comes to glucose control. So I'd really work on making sure I'm having a stabilized glucose response, because when you're tired, when you're gaining weight, a lot of times you could be eating some of the wrong foods, right? You're having dysregulated blood sugar, you're getting highs and drops. You really want to focus on a dietary strategy where you're eating balanced meals, getting enough protein, complex carbohydrate, plenty of vegetables. The fourth thing is focusing on the nervous system, really calming that nervous system response. That's so important, when you're tired, when you're, having trouble with weight and you're inflamed. A lot of times for most of us, we have issues where we're just, we're stressed, we're overworking, we're really, pushing ourselves harder, and you really need to step back and figure out how can I best support my nervous system. And that, can include things like meditation, making sure you're having some fun, time with friends. It can look a lot different, from person to person. Finally, the 5th thing I would do is restore cellular energy. So if your mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of cells, are not working properly, you can't repair, you can't do anything, you can't heal your cells. So working on mitochondrial health is the 5th thing, and that requires, a pretty simple strategy of supportive nutrients to support that mitochondrial function. So finally, in the end, it just really is a matter of supporting those systems and not working on just treating symptoms. If you want to see more videos like these, make sure to subscribe to The Natural Doctors.